Good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited. My name is Michelle Lenore, and Shannon Battle and we are doing a collaboration to help government certifications and contracts. It's made simple. Okay. So, the last couple of sessions we talked about what you needed, and the purpose of these minority certifications. And we really want to get into the benefits of the certification. You may say, well, Michelle, why do I need to work with the government? Why do I need to have these certifications? It's like, why? And it's pretty much to hone in what you do. And when you are competing, that you are not competing with a large group of people. There's a lot of technology, there's consulting, there is education, you name it, the government needs it. So again, I want you to look at the government as if it is this huge, just family, it's this huge household, and every household needs something. They need toiletries, they need internet, they need the up-to-date technology, they need lights, they need carpet, they need furniture. Sometimes, depending on how high you are in that particular area, that guess what? You also need folks who are coming in, who can do your hair, who can do your makeup. So these are just different things that we absolutely need. So if you're thinking like, you know what, I don't think the government needs what I have. The government needs what you have. Okay, so if you're thinking that, most definitely type it in the comments. We want you to challenge us to say, okay, the government doesn't need X, Y, and Z. And the other thing why we know that they need you is because they're always sending me emails with things that you guys need. I just got an email about the need for socks. I got the email, I think it was socks and t-shirts. It was socks and t-shirts. So with the socks and t-shirts, it's like, okay, they need that. I have 4 kids, and as kids grow, they always need, wasn't it, well, look, Shannon, what do they need? They need socks, they need underwear, they need toothpaste, they need sheets, they need pillows. We can go on and on and on. And the government is humongous, so they actually need that. And so there are great benefits. And so we're going to talk about the benefits of why you should get certified and why you should work with the government. Okay. So I know I started off with that first before I start off with who I am. I'm going to say who I am, and then I'm going to let Shannon say who she is. So again, my name is Michelle Lenore, and I help small businesses and big businesses connect. And with the small businesses, I help you guys get certified. I want you to get certified because big businesses need what you have. And we want to make it simple. So we make it simple. We make the certification process very easy. I had created a streamlined process because we want you to scale your money, hence scale to millions. We want you to scale your business to millions, which helps to create that legacy. So I help a lot with the certification piece, the marketing piece on how to present yourself. I mean, Shannon and I, we both work on that. And then Shannon, she works a lot on how to get your contract, in order so you can win. So Shannon, I'll let you take it from there.
Hey, Michelle, and everyone that's listening, thank you for your time. I'm Shannon Battle. I own several businesses. Family Services is one that is designated as a woman owned small business. And I have been working in the government contracting arena for a number of years. Many of the contracts and a large percentage of my financial revenue streams come from government contracts, whether it's through state contracts, local contracts, federal contracts. And as a result of me going through those different processes, I've learned a lot of what you have to look at when you are trying to compete what you need to understand to even know if it's worth your time for certain contracts that you're looking for, if you have capacity to even serve on those to be able to fulfill the contracts. So a lot of times we, look at something, it's very attractive, it seems very lucrative, and we're thinking, yeah, this is what we need to do. And then you find yourself in a situation where you can't fulfill all the obligations, and then you've really severed a relationship that kind of blacklists you from being able to be competitive in other areas. We think because it's government that, oh, no one talks to another entity, but it's really a small world when you talk about certifications, and especially minorities showing up in business. So I provide that support for those once you've gone through your certification process, how to understand the contract, how to not skip over something thinking it doesn't apply, or it doesn't apply because you don't understand it. Ignorance does not protect you from the obligations within that contract. So you want to make sure that you read everything. So I really help you to focus on the details to make sure that you stand strong when you do present that contract.
I love that. I was talking with a young lady today. Her name is Sonia. Hey, Sonia, if you're watching this. And it was great. Like, we were in this meeting, and one of the things that she mentioned was that sometimes, you hear so much hype on the internet saying like government contracts, government certifications. And one of the things, well, we agreed on a lot of stuff. I would just about say everything. But one of the things that she mentioned was, before you go gung ho, like, okay, I'm going to get certified, I'm going to work with government, find out what the government needs, and knowing which government entity needs it. So you guys heard me, I mentioned socks. Well, when you say, well, how does, what department actually needs socks? All the military. So all the military, when they have basic training, then the individuals who are coming in for basic training, they cannot wear the individual clothes. They have to look alike. They have to dress alike. How do you do that when somebody's coming in and they have, you have one group that has money, and then you have another group that don't have money? Well, what they do is they contract different businesses that offer those type of supplies for socks, okay, for socks, for shoes. And so before you think like, oh my gosh, like, how can I get into that? How can I be a part of that? Again, this is the advantage of, researching, doing market research within what you do. One great example was that I had read, I want to say last year, the year before last, that we all heard of, hopefully we've all heard of New Balance. So New Balance is very much a national known brand. A lot of us, we may not buy New Balance. That's okay. New Balances are so more like behind the scenes. The government, the military actually has a contract with New Balance. Okay. And within that contract, from my research, what they do is they go ahead, they won the contract. All right. And so with the contract, they supply the shoes. The great thing about New Balance is that they get data also from the shoes that are returned. So it's like the individuals, they don't keep the shoes, have to return the shoes. And so within returning the shoes, that they get data from that information. And so getting data from that information of returning the shoes. So not only do they have this multi-million-dollar contract, they also have this great real-time data on how to make their shoes better. But a lot of times within these contracts, they are looking for companies to collaborate with that have these minority certifications. Okay, and so that's what we want to talk about, is these minority certifications and the benefits of having it. And when I say there are just great benefits of having it, I was on, in fact, Shannon, I got one email and two direct messages to say, hey, Michelle, I want you to come to my event and I want you to talk about this.
Wow.
And from that, what comes from that, there'll be one that's paid, two that's not paid, which is okay, because I can talk about the program that I offer. Because again, I want to help more people get certified. So this is really, really important because they know that I'm certified. They know that I've been through the process, and knowing that, that allows them to view me as one of the experts in the industry. So that's really, really cool that I have the ability, just like you do, to help different communities, different groups, so they can win those $1 million contracts.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing. Oh, hold on. Okay, I thought my mute was on. That's the amazing thing about government contracting. And once you go through the process, you now can talk to others about how to do it and how to do it well. So when you look at why am I even entering into this space? Well, this space makes room for you to attract other opportunities. You now have a capability that other people don't have, and especially if it's in your particular industry. So when she was talking about the socks, even though say it was for the Department of Corrections and they needed socks for inmates, and they only needed it, just say, for inmates in North Dakota. With you having your federal certification, that qualifies you to bid on that particular contract. But it also then should let you become aware of other potential correction opportunities for socks, because that's not the only institution that will need socks. So now when you're thinking, okay, well, I've done this and I've done the application, and say that you didn't get the award because it was a lowest priced contract, and say someone bidded 20 cents below you, even though you have more experience in that area, they're going based on the lowest bid. But now that you have your contract structured, you can now use that as your template to see what other entities, what other RFPs are out there, and you just start shopping around. So, even when you're doing this, people will say, oh, it doesn't work. They'll have that out there, but they're giving it to everybody else. No, those contracts are being evaluated. And if they are being misappropriated, the contractors who are responsible, the contract specialists who are responsible for evaluating and selection, they can get in trouble for that. So even when, and the benefit about the time that you invest, even if you don't get the contract, is that you can request information after the award has been selected. So you can actually look at all the bids that were submitted and see where you fell with that. Then you use that as your research to know how and understand, how do I do this better going forward? So even if you took, say, an initial contract and you don't lose anything, but you don't profit high, now you have an active contract that shows that you have experience. So when you're applying for the next contract and they want to know, okay, in that capabilities, what's your background? What do you bring to the table? And so we know that you can fulfill this level of contract. You can now say, well, I have a contract, where I purchased socks. I purchased 1 million socks for the state of the North Dakota Corrections, and that draws people's attention as well. So if they now know your name, they may not even have to do a RFP that goes out across all, just an open RFP. They can sole source things, meaning they can come out to you directly. So just because in this area, if you don't get the contract, most of us, when we're applying for these contracts, they are competitive. Even if it's just you against someone else, there is somebody else competing for that contract. But what it does do is it opens you to explore other possibilities of what you can tap into in these different industry codes. So if you're doing socks, what else relates to socks? Socks are cotton. Is there a cotton, contract for something? Can you connect with the manufacturer with the cotton? If you're doing socks, can you do underwear? Because these are closely aligned together as far as the industries in which you're selling your products through. So if it's clothing, textiles, just look at, I would do a mind map, and this is what I help people to understand, because people are so trapped in in linear thinking that they can't see outside the box. If you go ahead and put, okay, the socks right here, what else is connected to socks? What else, are you able to leverage as opportunity to be competitive on other government bids?
I love that, and I'm gonna have Shannon tell a little bit about her story when we first met. It was so funny. So we had met Q4 of last year, and she had told me that this department had kept reaching out to her about a job, to do a job. So again, this is what she was talking about, the set asides and the soul sourcing. Like, the lady kept calling her. Now, mind you, if she wasn't certified, Shannon wouldn't have got that call about the drywall. She wouldn't have got the call, and for them to call again, and for them to call again. Again, if you have your things in order, yes, you need to be marketing. Yes, your LinkedIn need to be up to date. Yes, you need to have your capability statement. But one of the things is that Shannon is certified. She's minority certified. Her company is minority certified. So she kept getting this call of, look, we need to get someone who we know who has a skill set. So of course they were looking at her commodity codes, her NICS codes. And then also they're looking at what she has done in the past. And then also they're looking at, again, the credibility, because if it wasn't just right, I doubt if she would have constantly kept getting calls. So Shannon, if you could talk a little bit about that to let people know the list that you're on once you're certified, it absolutely matters. I know everybody don't understand the database, but once you're certified, you get put on a database, and most databases are free, within the government, and they can see if you are actually certified. And not just Shannon, who's going to talk about what she has experienced, but a few of my clients, they've actually had $1 billion, and myself had $1 billion companies reach out to us saying, hey, we looked at your commodity code, we found your information on this database, can you do X, Y, and Z? And this is huge because before they reached out to me, even though I was on that database, right? They looked at my LinkedIn. You can see who sees your LinkedIn. They looked at my website. So are you ready for all of that? So Shannon, tell us tell us about your experience.
So it's funny that you say that, because then there have been other experiences to follow. So one that really stands out is, I know we were talking about that one when we first met, but then there was another one for, it was lead certification. So my company is lead certified in my construction company, and they were looking for subs. So you had this contract, this prime that was bidding on this contract near the army base right where I was, they needed to sub that workout. So all they're doing is shopping and hiring. When you get to a position to understand how this really works, you don't have to go out and do all the work. You sub the work. So if you aren't able to do it yourself directly, hire people to do it. And I learned that when I did my company, Family Services of America, and even prior to Family Services, when I had ICANN and Associates, I applied to do a service, and I got approved to do a state service. And I didn't have a psychiatrist. And I'm like, I'm not a doctor and I'm not going back to school to do that. Well, what did I do so I could keep that contract? I subbed it because I wanted to provide that program. So when you're looking at, okay, even if, like you're saying, like, I just don't have capacity to do this, remember that you're doing this so that, you have the capability of being able to hire others to do that work. Also, when they came looking for me, I had told Michelle, I was like, I missed that opportunity, and I'm not going to be able to. Now I'm jumping back to the one when you and I met. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it because they closed it down. Well, after she and I had the conversation, she was like, Shannon, we'll just reach out to them and try again. And then I said, well, I'm gonna just let it go. Well, they reached out to me and said, well, the contract was extended, and we still would like you to bid again. But then when I reviewed the contract closely and thoroughly, yeah, it was a multi-million-dollar contract. And trust, yes, I'm believing, for that 8-figure contract. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to put me right there. But when I looked at what was actually intel to get that rolling, because I have other commitments, I then had to coach myself. And good thing I have enough years of experience and I'm not anxious to say, if you do that, what will happen as a result of these other things? And it wasn't worth that lemon wasn't worth the squeeze. So when you're doing, but what I'm grateful for is that I was in a position where people were seeking out help. They needed help so they could make money. And then you can help them make money and you make money in the process. That's how they think. So it's never oh, I'm going to do this and, I'm just going to keep it to myself. No, how can I do this effectively? And it reminds me of something that my daughter shared with me. And she asked me a question. She said, Ma, she said, do you want a whole lemon or a half of a watermelon? And that made sense. So, yeah, I can take something small to keep it to myself. But what happens if I jump on somebody's watermelon, get half of that, and see what I have to do? And then guess what? Because I have the half, they're supporting another half of it that I don't have to worry about. And yeah, it cuts into what I possibly would make had I did it on my own if it was and treated it as a lemon, but I can go to sleep at night because I'm not shouldering all that weight myself. So yeah, once you get your certification, they will contact you. I have emails almost every day. We invite you to bid on this. Can you bid on some of these trades? I didn't bid on one because they weren't awarded, and I don't have time to keep sending you my estimates when I got other things going on. Contact me if you're awarded, and then tell me, I can send you an estimate, at that time, a proposal to see, if you would want to hire me on for that service. So now I can get really selective because I know how to manage and maneuver and figure out how this best works for me.
I love that. You had mentioned again that, what your daughter said, you want a lemon or you want a half of a watermelon. And that was one of the ways that I had begun to get into the colleges was that I had befriended a colleague, maybe it was like 2 years before. And he knew what I did. And so he was in the college. He was helping them with resumes. And he was like, and somebody was like, well, hey, we need help with LinkedIn. And I was like, okay. He was like, I know somebody. So again, you never know once you connect with someone on the business side of things, that they think of you, and I constantly, under the program that you and I, we're doing together, we talk about the resumes, we talk about LinkedIn, we talk about capability statements, like all of that entails into the contract. So it's like the buildup, and it was great. I was able to teach at the college. It was a 3-year. It was a 3-year contract that I was able to talk to the students about LinkedIn. The students were able to get paid internships. Before then they would just get internships. They just wanted to have the experience. And I found out, I was like, wait a minute, none of you guys are getting paid internships. They were like, no. I was like, y'all are super smart. What are we doing here? So even within that portion of helping them get these paid internship, these paid internships is really huge. So what we do, yes, we're helping the small businesses, move into legacy, but a lot of things that we're teaching that you can use across the board. You can prepare yourself to win, because even getting your paperwork in order, getting things in order, this also affects different grants, with funding. We found out a lot about things, opportunities during COVID. COVID was out there and they were giving out the PPP. They were giving out a lot of stuff. They was giving out a lot of stuff. And if you had your stuff in order, like you needed to have in order, then you were able to get some form of funding. I know some states, they still have some money, but one of the first things they ask, are you certified? I know for North Carolina, they were doing that. I remember in Tennessee, they were doing that. In Maryland, they were doing they were like, are you certified? And so if they had any money left over for small businesses who were not certified, then that money went towards them. So it's just not just this small piece. It's a huge opportunity. So when we talk about the benefits of being minority certified, not just for contracts, but then also funding for your company within the government and outside the government. I would have to say another great example I had was my client. She's in the beauty industry. I got her certified. So, some of y'all have been like, beauty, getting certified, minority certified. Yes, they need shampoo, soap, and then like Shannon said, so what is close to like those toiletries? They need towels, they need rags. Usually, if you own some type of beauty entity, you know where to get these items that are quality and discounted. And so she decided to take her brand to Target. One of the first questions on the Target application was, are you minority certified? Not, are you a minority business? Are you minority certified? What you got to say to that, Shannon?
There's a lot I have to say on that, but what I'll stick with, because I know we're running close to time, is that there's no reason for you not to be certified. There's no reason for you not to go ahead and go through the process, and there's no reason for you to think that you have to do it alone, because there are a lot of opportunities out here. Like, there's so many opportunities I look at. And so the thing is, what I'm doing now, because I really want to work smarter and not harder, I look at women that I'm aligned with, and I'm grateful, like, for having a relationship with Michelle. So when I see a consultant, say RFP come out, something with consulting services, I'm gonna send it to Michelle. Take a look at this and tell me what you think. And then she's going to look at it and say, yeah, that looks like it might be a good opportunity. So now I want to further the conversation to see, well, is this something you would be interested on? Or if I bidded on it, would I be able to sub out the work to you? Do you know someone else in your arena who needs the work, that I could possibly sub this job out to? So now what I'm doing is I'm administrating, and I'm doing what I do in all of my other businesses. I set up a business and hire people that can run it. Hire people that can work those positions to grow that company. And that's how, I think, because now I'm out of that stage. Okay, I just need to do all the work. No, it's like, okay, can I do this, and do I have the right network to be able to connect the right people to be able to fulfill this contract? I be the prime on it, and then I just sub out the work. But I can do that with my certification. I'm not able to share my screen, but I wanted to briefly just there's an email that I think I can. Can I? Okay. Let me just show you all something really quick, just to give you an idea. So this is an email that I get all the time. And once you're certified, you'll get these emails, because once you're on this particular list, it will be able to, they're just going to send it out. I think it comes out I think I get one about every day. But it tells you the agency. So you see all these different agencies to the left: Department of Defense, National Aeronautics, Commerce, Justice Department, Veteran Affairs, clothing, textiles, what she was talking about. So then it tells you your opportunity titles, which is in comparison with what your industry code is. Then the type here. So it's going to tell you who can compete for these RFPs over here. So you either can be a total small business set aside. As you see this one here, as under aerospace, they're looking for enterprise geospatial support services, indefinite delivery, and I'm not going to click on it, but SBA certified woman-owned small business, the POC, and then when the response is due. So it's showing you, if you're a hub, they want you to be able to do engine maintenance on here. If you are in the medical, nursing home bed, high-low SD VOSB set aside. So that's just for SD VOSB. That's who they're looking for. Not saying they won't look at other people, but this is their primary target for these particular RFPs that are out here. Under construction, this is my area for one of my businesses, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense in location. I got to look at licensing and other things if I'm going to be providing those services. If you all are in the IT space or you know of people in the IT space, you can put them down. But when it says Indian small business, you have to be Indian.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's told. And they have a lot of services too, and they have good services that they offer, but you have to be Indian in order to do that, do the services with them. And then so it has to be determined over here. These are getting ready to close. So energy, environmental, food. So if you are, people will think sometimes, if you're a restaurant owner, do you buy food? Like for here, do you buy milk? Do you buy bread? Have you ever thought about adding an industry as a small business to show that you can provide these things? Because all you're going to do is shop for it and sell it back to the government. That's what this means. So it's not in terms that you have to have a farm with some cows and have some milk that you're responsible for manufacturing. You just have to have access to it and be able to price it well so you can get that contract. Furniture fixes, furniture, fixtures, equipment. Do you all go furniture shopping? You know, if you're a designer and say you design for homes or you remodel, are you buying a lot of these things that you could, possibly buy for the government? Human factors here, vehicles and ships. If you have a boat that does some things, if you have aircraft that do things, that would be something. And then you have your other category here. So that is just to give you an example of what's out there when it comes to contracting. And that's not an exhaustive list. There are so many different types of contracts that are out and open. And I even had, when she was telling you before, once you are certified, companies that will come looking for you directly and inviting you to do things. That happens very often. So I got one for staffing services because of one of my other with one of my other businesses. We have to do staffing for the services that we offer. I'm going to share this real quick just to show you that everything Michelle has said is true when it comes to the advantages of you getting these certifications. So I just got this one here, not saying I will bid on this, but in my state, because I am a hub. You see, this came from a hub.
I got the same one, Shannon.
See, that's what I'm saying. So now she and I need to have conversations. Should we do this? Because they're looking for a quick, look at this. This is a quick turnaround project.
Yes.
Quick turnaround project. So these are things, we're not even going out looking, but they're sending the information. And Michelle and I are in different states, but we have same capacity to be able to do it, so that you're not limited. You can do this work, like I said before, internationally. So just really start, if you've been listening, if you've been following us, if you're a part of the Scale to Millions LinkedIn group, it's time to go ahead and just jump on it. I've gotten calls from people. Matter of fact, I've gotten calls from husbands saying, how can my wife get her certification? And because it just makes sense. If you are, if you have kids, women, if you're out here and you have kids and you're trying to put them on and they're a part of a family business, you could do so much service for your children and your children's children just by getting the certification. If they're working for you in your daycare, if they're working for you out doing your landscaping work, you need to get the certifications, and it becomes a game changer. And then don't do the 8A certification. That's a whole different ball game. I'm going to be calling you for some services and work, with that one. So what we're trying to do is just really get you all to understand the value of investing and taking the time and getting the support to get the small business certification. Try it. If it doesn't suit you and you don't want to renew it after the time period is over, then don't renew it. But don't limit yourself. Don't limit your capabilities of being able to do what you've always envisioned, to do what hasn't been done in your family before. So if you are frustrated in a marriage and you're like, my husband has been doing this business and it's not working, and you're upset because he keeps putting money into the business, get him certified. Y'all get
Absolutely.
minorities certified and start bidding on contracts. Why don't you do things to help amplify the vision that's already started, so you can increase and you can grow and you can amplify and then live out those visions that you've already seen. It's your time. You're frustrated with where you are. Just going to work for people is just not working anymore, and there's something greater. This is why you've stopped in and you see what we're doing now, because it's your time. So I push you. Go ahead, sign up today.
Like, dude, it's when you had mentioned, and I love that you showed all of that. Again, this is real time stuff. This is real time stuff. We are in the fourth quarter for a lot of government departments, a lot of government entities. They got money and they're looking to offload it because, again, their fiscal periods are different from ours. When I say this is their fourth quarter, a lot of them, this is their fourth quarter. In other states, like right now in certain parts of states in Georgia right now, this is their first quarter. So you got it, a fiscal quarter. Okay, so you got to know, again, who's your target within the government and what quarter are they in? Are they in a quarter like we need to unload some money? There's a lot of, I call it the blitz. There's a lot of come to our DBA, MBE, WBE, networking, because they got money that they got to get rid of before the new fiscal year starts. There's other ones who are in the first fiscal year, a quarter of their fiscal year, like, come on in, we want to know what you're doing. We want to know how to budget this money. Okay, so knowing that is really, really important. We can help you out with that. Again, you guys heard me, like, okay, so one state department is in the fourth, the other one's in the first. Is that for everybody? That is not for everybody. And that could be different per state, that could be different per region, that could be different per county, per school, system. Again, being aware, but our biggest thing is we want you to be prepared. That's it. Because when you're prepared, that certification, yeah, you can get a certification within 30 days all the way to a year. Sometimes it takes that long, but you got to be prepared, because when you're ready, you don't have to get ready. So, but no, we appreciate you guys like popping on. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us. We really want you to take a look at our LinkedIn, see what we're all about. We're always putting stuff out there. Shannon be talking about, one thing about Shannon, she is a builder. Okay. And when I say she builds physically and she builds mentally, she helps marriages and families, grow and build. So that's building that way. And of course, she does construction. So it's all about building. So she's all about that building piece. All right. And me, teacher, well, she's a teacher too, y'all. But ultimately, we want you guys to get the millions. We want you guys to get that legacy. We want you guys to scale. We're here to help you scale. We're here to help you grow. And again, if you have questions, if you're like, hey, Michelle, Shannon, I'm in this state. What do they have happening in this state? Or I'm in this industry. What do they got happening in this industry? We want you guys to reach out to us. We want you to feel comfortable, because a lot of people's wealth is working